How you doing out there? Olivia Krem here, your Director of Fitness, and thank you for joining me for today's Mastering Form workout series. If you've not joined me in the Mastering Form videos before, it's all about slowing things down and really going over how to use proper form and technique when it comes to some of your favorite exercise moves, which are extremely important. Of course, we all want to make sure that we are getting strong and developing our bodies in the ways that we want, and doing exercises properly is essential for that. So that's what the Mastering Form series is all about. So before we jump on in, always make sure that you check with your physician first. If this is your first time joining me for a Mastering Form workout, or the first time you've been active in a while, check with your doctor just to make sure you're A-okay to begin any type of new exercise routine. Now, even though we're going to take things nice and slow, we're going to kind of go through the whys behind the whats, the benefits, and the movements, it's always important to make sure you're hydrated. So have some water nearby. It's going to be a nice slow pace for you, but it's important to make sure that you got your water, so have that and listen to your body. If you need to take some breaks while I'm showing you these routines, of course do so. It's always important to just make sure that you're listening to your body and doing what feels best for you. So we're going to dive right on into that. For today's Mastering Form series, we're going to go through triceps, or back of the arms, okay? Now, sometimes when we think about, sometimes actually we don't think about triceps as much when we're doing our upper body routine or strength. It just kind of depends on if we, feel like, okay, is it a muscle that I should work? It's absolutely important to develop your triceps or the back of the arms, because you really use them a lot. You use them anytime you straighten your arms. The triceps are really important to be able to do that in your daily life when it comes to movement, dancing around, when it comes to the chores and your household things that you do, you use your triceps. So making sure that you strengthen these muscles, absolutely important to do. So I'm going to show you just about 4 different exercises that you can do. The reason why I like these is because all you need is a dumbbell or a water bottle or a can, okay, to be able to do some of these moves. So you can do them at home, you can do them at the office when you travel, or you can do them at the gym. So I want to kind of share with you 4 that I really, really like. Now, if you have a bench or a chair, we're going to use that today, but don't worry if you don't. I promise you'll be able to do some of these demonstrations with nothing at all. So the first thing we're going to jump into is called an overhead tricep extension, or a overhead dumbbell extension. And we're going to do this using both hands. Now, when you're if you're using a dumbbell, I would recommend, if you've never done these movements before, to start light. Very important to start light. You're going to be doing a lot of these movements above your head. So if you're not accustomed to lifting weight over your head or supporting it with your strength, absolutely start light. You can always increase, but making sure that you use proper form is key before thinking about increasing your weight or increasing the amount of pounds that you use. So, overhead tricep extension. Now, I like this move for a couple reasons. One is you can do it standing or seated, just depends on you. The benefits of doing them standing is you have to really utilize your core to keep your body upright. So again, that activation in the core is always great. Also, some people feel like they can be grounded a lot better when they're kind of standing up, and then it focuses, on balance and posture. So there's some benefits to that. But you can absolutely do this move standing or seated. So I'm going to show you standing first. Now, holding the dumbbell is really important. Now, I like to hold the dumbbell like this, right? You can kind of see that there. Some like to hold it right in the middle. It's really up to you. If you prefer to hold it here by what I call, by the bell itself, just make sure you feel very comfortable with it, because again, putting a weight over your head, you got to make sure you have it secure. So I'm going to hold it the way I like to, which is right by the bell, and I've got it kind of cupped in between my hands there. What I want to make sure with my feet, if I'm doing it standing, is stand naturally, about hip width apart. Make sure there's some bend in your knees so you feel really comfortable there. I'm going to raise that dumbbell above my head. Elbows are nice and tight, okay? So my elbows aren't flared out, they're pretty tight to my head. My core is engaged, nice and tight there, and I'm going to go straight up and bend. Straight up and bend. So this is working the back of my arms. And I have my chin tucked a little bit because I want to make sure that I'm clearing my head. You can have a straight back if you feel comfortable with that, but I like to sort of tuck my chin. Kind of gives me a little bit more extra space there. So my chin is tucked And a good tip to remember is where you keep your elbow. So notice that when I have the extension, I want to avoid my arms doing this. It's really important for this part of your arm to remain fixed. So it's fixed close to sort of almost to my ears. And again, that's going to depend on the flexibility and the mobility in your shoulders. So, you know, obviously listen to your body. If you feel like getting your arms back this far is difficult, then, you know, be within whatever range of motion feels comfortable for you. But ideally, I want to be right, sort of lined up here with my ears, and I'm going to go straight up. Straight up. Okay? So just like so. And I want to have a good hand on this dumbbell. I want to make sure I feel really secure about it. And I'm going to go till about here, right to where my forearm right here is sort of like almost just below my elbow. So I don't need to come here and sort of hit my back with the dumbbell. Right here is good, straight up. And I want to avoid this. If I feel like I can't keep this control, then I may want to consider the range of motion of the movement. Maybe that range of motion doesn't suit me, or maybe I need to adjust my dumbbell. So that's how you do the overhead extension standing. The way you do it seated, exact same thing. But you want to make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall with great posture. Elbows are tight, straight up, straight up. And I'm thinking about going up and sort of towards you, up and towards you. And I'm keeping good posture. Okay, so that's an overhead tricep extension using both hands. Another exercise I like to do for the back of the arms or the triceps is an overhead tricep extension with just using one hand. Okay, so again, lightweight until you get used to it. You can either hold it this way. I recommend, if you've not done this move before, to hold it with the handle. If not, if you're comfortable and have done these before, then holding it with the belt, it's whatever you feel most comfortable. But remember, you're bringing in something heavy over your head, so make sure you feel really secure about where you're positioning your hands, okay? So you can hold it here, just like this. I would recommend that to be safer for you. Now, when I'm going, and you can do this seated or standing, just like when we use both arms. I personally like to make sure I anchor my arm to my head. What that helps me to do is to avoid doing any movement like this. So remember, it's important to really anchor this part of your arm so that way you're not moving it out of place. So that way you can isolate the back of the arm when you want to do the exercise. So I kind of like to give myself a little bit of an anchor, and I'm going to go straight up. Straight up. And what I'm doing is I'm coming behind my head. Right there. Right below. Right. Now I could also do that standing. Same thing. Good stability for the core. Arm here. Or you can even have it here. Some people prefer to have it here. But I'm more, for me personally, I like to have my arm in the front. Nice slight bend. And up and down. So even with just the lightweight, this is about a 3-pounder, right? If you're really honing in on the technique, you should feel that tightness build up in the back of the arm. So these are awesome for strengthening, toning, but again, making sure that you're developing those good muscles for the back of the arm. So that's an overhead tricep extension using one hand. And definitely want to make sure that you're doing as many on your right as you do on your left, and vice versa. I like the single using one hand is because it requires a lot more control. And it doesn't allow one arm to sort of take over from the other. So if I feel like I have a little bit more strength in my right versus my left, when I'm doing a movement where I'm having to practice that single arm movement or unilateral move, I have to really focus on developing the strength equally from right to left. So that's one of the reasons why I like using a single arm from time to time. All right, so the next exercise we're gonna do is called a skull crusher. I know, sounds scary, don't let it scare you. It's an amazing exercise to do for your triceps. It's a push exercise. It's great for your daily activities. When you think about anything where you need to sort of, make the bed, any certain moves, you want to make sure that you engage in exercises that develop those push muscles like the triceps do. So a skull crusher is great for that. Now we're going to do this one on lying on something. So I recommend something firm, not something too soft. So doing this on a couch would be ideal. You can do these on the floor if you don't have a bench. So you don't have to use a bench if you don't have one. So we're gonna use both dumbbells. You can do these with one, but I'm gonna show you how we do them with two. All right, so again, start with a lightweight. If you're not comfortable with this move, you can have your feet up or down, whichever is best for you. And I want to make sure that I feel good on the bench, if I'm on a bench, and I got my hands stable, choosing a weight that I feel good about, and I want to keep my elbows tight to my body. So I'm sort of squeezing my chest area, and I want to lower the dumbbells right outside my temple. Hence the word skull crusher, okay? So I want to have absolute control with this movement. So choosing a lightweight is ideal. When I come up, what I'm trying to do is force my arms straight without hyperextending my elbow joint. So I don't want to feel any tension in my elbow. If I do, then I need to really take a look at the form of my movement and if this exercise is a good one for me. But I do want to try to get my arms all the way straight. And the key is while I'm trying to get my arms straight, is I don't want my arms to sort of fly out to the side. What I want to avoid is this, where my elbows begin to widen. I want to keep them around my chest muscles. Now you can adjust back this way as well. So if you feel a little more comfortable coming behind your head, right here, you can do that, but you want to still keep your elbows tight to each other, all right? So that one is called a skull crusher. One of my favorite things to do. You can also do that with one dumbbell. So let's just say you have some dumbbells, but you notice that both of them together is a little difficult to control because you are having to control them separately from right to left. You can do this move with one dumbbell. You just grab it by both hands. Everything is still the same. My elbows are tight to my chest, and I'm gonna bring the dumbbell right to my hairline. Again, making sure my arms aren't moving. I've gotta keep my elbows, the back of my arms in a fixed position. And the only thing that's moving is extending the elbow up and down, the extension. So right to my hairline, or I can bring it here, a little further and get past my head. Still ensuring that my elbows stay together. Okay, so that's a skull crusher with one dumbbell or two dumbbells. The last one I'm going to show you is a dip. Dips are by far one of my favorite exercises to do for the back of the arms because you can do them pretty much anywhere. You can do dips outside at a park. You can do them in a chair at work. They're such a great exercise that you can really kind of take with you wherever you go. You don't need any equipment. You can actually do dips on the floor, but I'm going to show you how you do them elevated today. Also, one thing I like about dips is that they really help make your joints stronger. So they help make your wrists stronger. They help make your shoulders stronger, your elbows stronger. So they're really good for your joints too. So if you're going to do them in a chair or on a park bench, or just something that you're sitting on, you want to make sure that you feel secure about this, that it's not going to move on you, okay? So that's important. I'm going to have my hands right outside my hips, like so I don't want to be out here. I want to be pretty nice and tight. You are going to lower your weight with this one. Another thing I like about dips is they're very versatile. You can adjust how difficult it is based on just your leg position and how far away your legs are from your body. So you have a lot of variety with that. But I'm gonna start really with having my feet close to me because that means my body isn't lifting, my arms aren't lifting quite as much weight if my feet are closer to me versus further away. So my hands are close to my hips. My feet are about a 90-degree angle or so toward, away from me. And I'm going to lower my hips down. And one of the big things I want to mention is it's important to keep your hips close to your anchor point, which is going to be this bench for me. If my hips are further away, that puts a lot of pressure on my shoulders. So I want to avoid that. So I want to think about I'm going to drop straight down as much as I can. Not push out, drop straight down. So feet are ready. Feet naturally about a good hip width apart. and I'm gonna lower my body. And when I lower, I wanna think about parallel, okay? So think about your shoulders, elbows about parallel. If this is new for you, it's gonna be a little difficult to feel like you can do that possibly and get yourself back up properly. So go down as low as you feel comfortable with while keeping proper form, but you wanna avoid trying, doing it to the point where you fall on the floor, okay? So we don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna have everything nice and ready to go. I'm bending and then I'm up. I'm bending and I'm up. So I'm lowering my body and I'm up. Lowering my body and I'm up. So just to kind of show you how that looks from the side, because sometimes it helps to change the angles of things a little bit. So you can see. All right, so my hands again are close to my hips. Notice how close my feet are to the bench, close to me. And I'm lowering to about right here, and I'm up. And notice how close my hips are to the bench. Remember, I want to avoid this. That's way too much pressure on my shoulders, so right here. Now, if I wanted to make that more challenging, I would just extend the length of my feet away from my body. Trust me, it makes it harder to do it. So if this is new for you, keep your feet closer. That's a lot easier to manage, okay? So I hope you enjoy these different tricep exercises. Remember, triceps are essential. We need them when we extend our arms. They're super important, so add some tricep exercises to your workout routine. They are amazing for you. If you have any questions about any of the exercises you saw, you can email me at fitness@livia.com. And remember, it's always great to move your body, get up, move. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I can't wait to see you guys again soon.